everybody. I'm happy to have you here with me at story time today. Last week we talked about how we had Groundhog's Day on February 2nd. Well, today is February 3rd, which means yesterday Punxsutawney Phil came out and predicted whether or not we were going to have 6 more weeks of winter or an early spring. It actually turns out that Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow. So that means he's predicting 6 more weeks of winter. How many of you guys predicted that we would have a longer winter too? I think if you take a nice look outside and see all of the snow we've gotten in the past couple days, it wasn't hard to tell that we are still in winter. So, I actually have a really great selection of books for you today. They're going to talk a little bit about groundhogs and Groundhog's Day, and then we're going to get deeper into hibernation, some different animals other than groundhogs that hibernate, and a fun little story. I also have an activity for us and a few songs. So let's go ahead and start with our first book. It is called Groundhog Weather School by Joan Holub. Happy Groundhog's Day, everyone. I do not see my shadow. That means spring is here. Yahoo, said Rabbit. Spring is here. Sun and fun, here I come. Sigh. Here's Rabbit watching the news, getting ready to go outside for some sun and fun, and he only came to find that I guess it's really hard to predict the weather. It's still snowing outside. However, this year I think our groundhog might be right. Bunny Rabbit decides to write a letter. Dear Weather Groundhog, you were wrong. Spring is not here yet. Maybe you are too far away to predict the weather everywhere. Could you get me more groundhogs to help next year? Signed, Rabbit. Rabbit's right. I do need some help. But how will I find enough other groundhogs to help me predict the weather all over North America? Do you guys have any ideas? Well, Groundhog decided to use a flyer. Have you got what it takes to be a weather forecaster? Take this quiz and check all that apply. Are you a mammal? If you are warm-blooded, have a backbone, and drank milk as a baby, you are probably a mammal. Check. Are you furry? You be the judge of that. I don't think we're furry, so we're out. But let's see what else you need to qualify in order to be a weather forecaster. Do you live in a burrow? If you live in a hole or a tunnel dug in the ground, check this box. Are you a rodent? If you have two front teeth that never stop growing, you probably are. Are you an herbivore? An herbivore is when you eat only plants. Do you hibernate? If you sleep for months at a time each winter, you are a hibernator alrighty. If you checked all 6 boxes, you're invited to attend the Groundhog Weather School. Who do we have reading this newspaper flyer? Well, we have Pig. The news traveled fast. Pig said, check. No, 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 no. I guess she doesn't qualify. Now we have a monkey. Check, check. Nuh-uh, nuh-uh, nuh-uh. I guess monkey doesn't work either. Now we have a skunk. Check, check, check. Nope, nope. No fair. I bet skunks could forecast the weather too. Next, we have rat. Check, 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 check. Rats, rats. He didn't get the last two checked. Who do we have next? A porcupine. Do you think the porcupine's going to make all of the check boxes? Check mark all of the boxes? check, 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 check. Hibernate? They don't. Well, now we have a groundhog. And yes, he checked all of the boxes. Yay! I'm heading for Groundhog Weather School. Welcome to your first day of Groundhog Weather School. Class, let's begin by saying our Pledge of Hog Allegiance. We, the students of Groundhog Weather School, pledge to come out of our burrows on February 2nd to look for our shadows, and to remember that if we don't see our shadows, it means spring is here. And if we do see our shadows, it means there will be 6 more weeks of winter. I see my shadow when it's sunny, but why would sunny weather mean more cold winter weather is coming? I just don't get it. It says here that a sunny winter day may be extra cold because there is no cloud blanket to trap the sun's warmth near the ground. Groundhog minus shadow equals spring. Groundhog plus shadow equals winter. I wonder if that will be on the test. Next class they have is geography. Class, please tell us about yourselves. Well, we are the only animals with a holiday named after us. We watch out for these predators. Up here, we have coyote, fox, dogs, wolves, bobcats, hawks, owls, eagles, and humans. My eyes, ears, and nose are good danger detectors. If a predator is near, I run for my burrow. I can't run fast, only about 10 miles per hour. G, my name is Groundhog. I'm smaller than a beaver, but bigger than a squirrel, and I weigh 10 pounds. Squirrels, chipmunks, and prairie dogs are our relatives. We are all part of a big rodent family called marmots. Most of us live in areas that get very cold in the winter, like the northeast or central part of the United States and in Canada. Groundhog's Day began here in Pennsylvania, which is where we live. We dig holes and eat farm crops. Some states don't allow groundhogs, except for graduates of Groundhog Weather School, of course. Like most groundhogs in the northeastern United States, I prefer to be called a woodchuck. In the Appalachian Mountains, groundhogs are called whistle pigs because we whistle to warn other groundhogs of danger. That's neat. Did you guys know that? Well done, class. Now let's visit the library. Research reports are due on the next page. The library, well, that's where I am. Famous furry prognosticators. Very interesting terms. I wonder if they use a different library. Although a library is a great place to find information and answers to questions, it's also a good place to find history and all about the world. First up, we have Punxsutawney Phil. He lives in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. He made his first weather prediction in 1886. Wow, that's a long time ago. He met U.S. President Ronald Reagan, and he starred in a movie called Groundhog's Day. There is Punxsutawney Phil. Next, we have Weirton Willie from Weirton, Ontario, Canada. He is a rare white albino groundhog with pink eyes. He tries to predict which football team will win the Super Bowl. That's this weekend. I wonder if we could look up and see who he thinks is going to win the Super Bowl this year. And he also gets visitors from as far away as Pakistan. Wow, he's a pretty neat groundhog. Next, we have General Beauregard Lee from Lilburn, Georgia. He lives in a small white house at the Yellow River Game Ranch, has been on the Today Show and on Animal Planet. He has an honorary college degree. That is one smart groundhog. Next, we have Jimmy the groundhog. He's from Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. He is visited by as many as 500 people each Groundhog Day. He has a weather hotline and visits the Wisconsin schools. Next, we have Buckeye Chuck. He's from Marion, Ohio. He is the official Ohio State groundhog. He lives in a comfy straw-lined box in a park. He visits a radio station on Groundhog Day to give his weather forecast. Next, we have Staten Island Chuck. He's from Staten Island, New York. He has a house with a thermometer in the roof. He lives at the Staten Island Zoo. Ice statues of him are carved on February 2nd. Well, that's neat. And then we also have Prairie Sea Shadow from New Iberia, Louisiana. She is a Nutria, a rodent with webbed feet and a long tail that lives in marshlands or swamps. She has a Cajun-style house which is moved to the Balgany Plaza Park each year for a big Groundhog's Day celebration. And last but not least, we have Sir Walter Raleigh from Raleigh, North Carolina. In the week before Groundhog's Day, kids record their weather observations. When the mayor announces Wally's weather forecast at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Science, kids watch to see if Wally's predictions turn out to be right. Hey, that's what we did this year. Next, we have the nature weather predictors. Well, nature actually has other ways of predicting the weather, not just by relying on whether or not we see our shadows. A tree's leaves can actually predict storms. Leaves curl upwards so their undersides show if there is moisture in the air and a strong wind is blowing. Wet honeybees are too heavy to fly, so they stay near their hive if rain is coming. If a pine cone's leaves fold inward, it may rain too. In dry weather, they fold outwards. Cows don't like wind blowing in their faces, so they stand with their backsides to the winds. Winds blowing from the west usually bring good weather, so if a cow's tail is turned to the west, then it often means good weather is coming. Well, those are really neat. We'll have to try and keep our eye out for those clues to see if they really are able to work. Luke Howard created a system for classifying and naming different cloud shapes. They include the cumulus clouds, the cirrus clouds, and the stratus clouds. The bell rang. It is now lunchtime, everyone. Be sure you hog out. It's important to add as much fat to our bodies as we can before hibernation begins. Well, why do we have to hibernate in the winter at all? We hibernate for 4 or 5 months between October and March because it's cold and food is hard to find. During hibernation, we are in deep sleep. Our heartbeats are slowed down. Our body temperatures drop, and we only breathe about 1 time every 4 minutes. Could you imagine holding your breath for 4 minutes? They really are deep sleep, aren't they? Well, We don't need to eat much because we live off of the fat our bodies have stored. So, again, don't forget to eat up groundhogs. My friend Frog hibernates at the bottom of a stream where the water doesn't freeze. And my friend Bat hibernates in a cave with her wings tucked close to keep her warm, just like a blanket. The next important thing to learn as a groundhog is how to build a burrow. Well, you dig a hole in the ground to make your front door, like this. So he starts here. 2, keep digging. Chomp through any roots. This will help wear down your claws and teeth so that they don't grow too long. 3, we can dig about 5 feet in one day. If you want a simple burrow, dig about 15 feet of tunnel. If you want a fancy one, dig up to 40 feet. So if you want a regular tunnel, it will take a groundhog about 3 days to dig. But if you want a 40-foot fancy burrow, it could take a groundhog up to 8 days. That's 1 week and 1 day just to make its home for hibernation during the winter. Well, then you want to make a few rooms along the way, such as a bedroom, a bathroom, and a storeroom for snacks. 5, be sure to make a back door just in case you need to make a quick escape. Now they are going to put on a play for us. What a surprise! This is a skit about the seasons, the reasons for seasons. In North America, a year is divided into 4 seasons of 3 months each. The seasons are winter, spring, summer, and fall. That's right. You guys are so smart. This groundhog here is dressed up as a snowflake. I'm winter. I begin around December 21st at the winter solstice, which is the shortest day of the year. And this groundhog is dressed up like a pretty flower. I'm spring. I begin around March 21st at the spring equinox when day and night are the same length. Next, we have this groundhog dressed up as the sun. I am summer, and I begin around June 21st at the summer solstice, which is the longest day of the year. And this little groundhog here is dressed up as a leaf. I'm fall. I begin around September 21st at the fall equinox when day and night are at the same length. There are 2 reasons why we have seasons. This here is a planet Earth. That's the planet we live on. And planet Earth orbits or goes around the sun, and the Earth is tilted. The equator is an imaginary line that divides Earth into 2 halves called hemispheres. When a hemisphere tilts towards the sun, it's warmer, as in summer. When it tilts away, it's colder, like in winter. What a wonderful job they did. I'm so very proud of you, the teacher says. And I'm proud of you guys too for knowing all 4 seasons. Which one is your favorite season? That is wonderful. My favorite season is between spring and fall. I love, love, love the flowers, but fall is nice, brisk, cool weather, and the leaves around here just change to such pretty colors. Next, they are going to study shadows, like we did last week. On February 2nd, we will look for our shadows. Can anyone tell me what a shadow is? Do you guys remember what a shadow is? Let's read on and find out. Is it a dark, scary monster that chases me? No. I know. It's the shade that's made when something blocks out the light, right? If you move far from the light, you can make a smaller shadow. And if you come closer to the light, your shadow gets bigger. At night, there are no shadows because there is no light. Excellent. I think everyone is ready for the final exam. Are you ready for the final exam? Let's find out. The big test. A multiple choice quiz. Please circle the correct answer. In your case, please shout out the correct answer. What day do you come out of your burrow? On your birthday, on February 2nd, or on February 32nd? Very good, February 2nd. What do you look for when you come out? A valentine, a shadow, or a pot of gold? Very good, a shadow. If you see it, your shadow, what does it mean? Spring is here, summer vacation is here, or 6 more weeks of winter? That's right. If you see your shadow, it says 6 more weeks of winter. If you don't see your shadow, what does that mean? You are invisible, spring is here, or 6 more years of school. Well, I hope it doesn't mean 6 more years of school, but it actually means spring is here. Whether you see your shadow or not, what's the next thing you do? Go back to sleep, have a snack, report the results to Groundhog headquarters. I personally would have a snack, but as far as this test goes, and for these weather predictors, they have to report to the weather station. They did it. Congratulations. They made it to graduation day. Yay, I passed. Me too. I'm going to New York and I get to go to Florida. Yahoo! I get to go to Texas. Get to your post, graduates, and start hibernating. Remember to set your alarm clocks for February 2nd. We'll be awaiting for your shadowing reports. All these months pass. We have October, November, December, January, and now February. It is February 2nd, and it's time to wake up. At school headquarters, weather reports are coming in from every Groundhog Weather School graduate. Will there be more winter, or is it time for spring? Does seeing a shadow and lightning count? Hello, Groundhog Weather School here. What's your report? Well, shadow, no shadow, 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 no shadow, shadow, and shadow. Sounds like we have more shadows than not. Happy Groundhog's Day, everyone. I had some help this year from the graduates of Groundhog Weather School. Most of us saw our shadows, including me. So it's a sure bet that winter will last 6 more weeks. Professor Groundhog took my advice and got some help. He's sure to be right this time, says Rabbit. So Rabbit's going to go sledding. He gets all of his winter stuff on and he pops out of his burrow and he sighs. I guess it's really, really hard to predict the weather. Silly Rabbit. The end. What a funny book. It was a little bit long, but it had such great information in it. I don't know about you, but I sure learned quite a bit. So now let's go ahead, since it was such a long story, and stand up. And we'll get our little wiggles out and we'll move around. Let's go ahead and we'll put our arms up and put our arms down. And then we'll put our arms back up. And then we'll put our arms back down. Now we'll touch our toes. Stand back up. Touch our toes. Stand back up. And give a big stretch. All right. Now go ahead and sit back down and we are going to sing a song. It goes to the tune of Do You Know the Muffin Man? And it's about hibernation. So what I'm going to do is I will sing the song. Please feel free to sing with me. And at the end, I'm going to hold up an animal and you guys have to tell me which animal I'm holding up. That's hibernating. Do you know who hibernates? Who hibernates? Who hibernates? Do you know who hibernates? It's a great big bear. Very good. Do you know who hibernates? Who hibernates? Who hibernates? Do you know who hibernates? It is a little groundhog. Very good. Let's see if you guys get this next one. Do you know who hibernates? Who hibernates? Who hibernates? Do you know who hibernates all winter long? It's a snake. Very good. Next we have, do you know who hibernates? Who hibernates? Who hibernates? Do you know who hibernates all season of winter? It's a bumblebee. Very good. I actually didn't know that bees hibernated. So how fun is that? I have two more animals left for you. We have a bat. Bats hibernate as well as skunks. Very good. You guys are so good and with guessing these animals. I just can't believe how smart you are. You guys must be really working hard. So let's go ahead and get into our next book. This book is called Hibernation, and I will have another book just for you guys to study in your grab and go bags. You guys will get to cut out all the pages and put your book together, and it tells you all of the animals that hibernate, just like this book. So, Hibernation by Melvin and Giada Berger. Some animals hibernate in the fall. Some frogs hibernate too. A fun fact, animals that hibernate spend the winter in a deep sleep. Frogs hibernate in mud. Some bats hibernate. Hibernating animals breathe very slowly. Bats hibernate in caves, and they like to wrap their wings around them like a blanket and keep themselves warm. Some snakes like to hibernate under rocks. Some snakes hibernate together as well. Ooh, I don't really like snakes. I don't know what I would do if I walked up on like a gigantic pile of snakes. What would you do? How great. So now we have some bears hibernate. Almost all sleeping bears snore. Can you guys pretend to be a hibernating bear? They're very loud. Bears hibernate in their dens. Some chipmunks hibernate too. Chipmunks hibernate under the ground. Animals don't eat while they hibernate. Some squirrels also hibernate. Animals eat a lot before they hibernate so that their body can feed off of the fat they've stored up. Squirrels hibernate in their tunnels. And we have a turtle saying goodbye. So that was a nice little book. Like I said, I have in your grab and go bag a book for you to make so you can study where the animals hibernate and which animals hibernate. I have just one more book for you today, and then I'll go over our activity in the grab and go bag, and hopefully I'll get to see you next week too. This book is called Wake Me in Spring. It is written by James Preller and illustrated by Jeffrey Sherrier. I love this book. It is so sweet. Are you guys ready? Mouse looked from his hole and said, "Brr, it's getting cold," as he shivered. Bear scratched his belly and yawned. "Ah." "Yes," said Bear, "I can feel winter in my bones." Bear looked at the calendar. "It's time for bed," he said. "I'm so tired. I will surely sleep all winter long." But Bear, Mouse cried, you'll miss winter. Bear yawned again and said, but I'm so sleepy. I don't care. Mouse waved his arms. You will miss the sleigh rides in the snow, said Mouse. Bear rubbed his eyes and said, but I'm so sleepy. I don't care. You will miss hot chocolate in steaming cups, said Mouse. I like hot chocolate. How about you? Bear pulled the curtains. I don't care, he said. But you will miss ice skates on frozen lakes, said Mouse. Bear locked the front door and said, you guessed it, I don't care. You will miss snowmen with carrot noses, cried Mouse. Bear only sighed and said, I don't care. Mouse didn't say a word. How do you think Mouse is feeling? Sad. Finally, in a sad, soft voice, Mouse said, but I will miss you. Bear looked into Mouse's watery eyes. Bear said, Mouse, I will not miss sleigh rides in the snow, hot chocolate in steaming cups, ice skates on frozen lakes, or even snowmen with carrot noses. But I will miss you. I will miss you very much. Bear bent down and gave his friend the kind of hug that bears give. A bear hug. A hug that lasts all winter long. My little friend, Bear explained, please understand, a bear needs to sleep all winter long. Mouse sniffed and blew his nose. Bear brushed his teeth and said, Mouse, I can feel winter in my bones. Please wake me in spring when flowers bloom and birds will sing. Mouse tucked Bear into bed and whispered, good night, Bear. Sleep tight. I'll see you in spring when flowers bloom and best friends sing. What a beautiful story. I just love those kind of stories. Always so sweet. And I love bear hugs too. Ooh, if you see somebody today that you super love, make sure you give them a great big bear hug. As far as the activity in our grab and go bags, I have a craft for us to do. So I have the book to make and the craft to do so that you can hang it up on your wonderful fridge and practice your letter H. Very good. H is for hibernate. You guys will have blue paper, orange paper, a wonderful little bear to color, and some cotton balls for snow. You'll get to use your scissors today and cut out the letter H, and you will get to use glue sticks to glue it down, and your bear and your glue sticks. And then if you want to add snowflakes, please do. Take a picture and send it in to me so I can see all of your work and what a wonderful job you're doing. The instructions will be in the bag, followed with a snack. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.